Before you hire a tax attorney to represent yourself before the IRS, there are three things you absolutely need to verify. Skip these steps, and you might end up hiring someone who isn't legally even able to represent you or just isn't the best choice for your situation. I'm Andrew Bosserman, tax attorney, former IRS agent, and founder of Boss Tax Law. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to do the research so you can protect yourself when hiring a tax attorney. So I get it. When you have an IRS problem, you're stressed out, a lot's on your mind, and you're just trying to find someone to help you as soon as possible. But that's exactly when scammers and unqualified practitioners prey on people. I've seen it before where someone will take a case, claim they're admitted to tax court, and attempt to file a tax court petition on behalf of a taxpayer, only to realize and have the tax court reject it because that practitioner can't legally represent a taxpayer in tax court. So before you write a check to your tax attorney, I'm going to show you three things you need to verify. First, you want to verify that the tax attorney has a state bar license and that they're in good standing. So each state bar has a public license lookup tool. You'll Google something like, for example, I have North Carolina pulled up here. Google North Carolina bar license lookup or go to your state's bar website and you will find a webpage that looks like this. It's going to differ by state, but this is North Carolina's. So first of all, you'll type in the attorney's name. I'm going to do myself, pull it up, and this is me. You will, first, you want to look for active license status. So right here, it says I'm active, eligible to practice law. Next, you want to look at what date they were admitted. So I was admitted to the bar in 2021, and you want to make sure that jives with what they're claiming. Look at the date admitted and look how many years of experience they're saying they have. Now, it could be different if they change states, but for example, I've been admitted to the bar since 2021. And here's something important. Just because an attorney is licensed in one state doesn't mean they're licensed in every state. I don't think I know of a single attorney that's licensed in every state, normally just one or two states at the most. So if I'm in North Carolina, but you are, say, in New York, can I represent you? And yes, I can for IRS matters because federal tax issues involve federal practice. So even though I have both a North Carolina and a South Carolina license, I can still represent you in front of the IRS. So when dealing with federal tax issues, the important part is that you're hiring an attorney that's licensed somewhere and is active and in good standing. So the next thing you'll want to check after their bar license lookup is the United States Tax Court website. And this is ustaxcourt.gov. And you want to check if your attorney you're hiring is admitted to practice before tax court. Now, why does this matter? It's because not every attorney can just walk into tax court and represent you. You need to be separately admitted to the tax court bar. It requires a separate application, good standing, and that's necessary before you can file a petition or represent someone in tax court. So you will want to go to ustaxcourt.gov and then you will click on Dawson Case Management. Then that's going to pull up a new screen and then go to Practitioner and then type in the name, Andrew Bosserman, and then here I am. I'm admitted to the tax court, gives you the tax court bar number, North Carolina, active, and I was admitted to tax court in 2024. Now, you might be thinking you're hiring someone, you're not necessarily to tax court yet, but maybe you're hiring a attorney to represent you for an audit. You might be saying, why is a tax court admission necessary? You want to make sure that the tax attorney you're hiring can represent you all the way to the end if necessary. Hopefully your case doesn't get past the audit stage and you get a favorable result. But if it does, you're hiring an attorney that can represent you every step of the way. And not all tax attorneys have been admitted to tax court. It's also a credibility signal. It tells you this person's serious about tax controversy work, and it's not something general practitioners typically do, just get admitted to tax bar. Also, this admissions date can also sometimes be misleading. Although I was represented tax court in 2024, I've been helping taxpayers with tax issues for years. It's only I just needed to get admitted to the tax court bar once I started my own private practice and actively had a case that went to tax court. But now I'm authorized in tax court and can represent anyone who needs to take their case to tax court. The final thing you want to look at is verify your potential attorney's actual tax controversy experience, because you can be a licensed attorney, you can even be admitted to tax court, but have still never handled a tax controversy case. So how do you verify this? So first, I would recommend going to the potential attorney's website. So this is my website, bosstaxlaw.com, and I clicked on the firm, and this is my bio. And you want to look like, what's your experience? So, for example, you want to look at things like former IRS agent. I'm also a CPA. You can also check when we're looking at bar admissions. So I'm admitted in North and South Carolina, and for court, I'm also admitted in tax court, but also Court of Federal Claims and United States District Court. So essentially, I'm admitted to every court where a tax case can be brought, because for refunds, you oftentimes have to use these two cases, but I'm admitted there. So no matter what your tax problem is, I can handle that. And you want to look for that when you are hiring a tax attorney. Like I mentioned before, the credentials just above and beyond being an attorney are important. CPA, not necessary, but it definitely helps to know the numbers very well. Also, just other fun facts or things that you would want in your tax attorney. And here I put just fun facts about me. And this is really just to let you know a little bit more about myself, and that I do have, although I love practicing tax law, I have a life beyond being a tax attorney, and also I'm involved in with my family and church and many other pursuits. So these are always fun topics to talk about with potential clients. The other, I guess, when you're looking at these bios of potential attorneys, what would concern me is hiring an attorney that claims they handle everything. They do tax controversy, but I also do estate planning and also do some business law on the side. You want a specialist. You don't just want someone who handles everything and has handled a tax court case once. Specifically, I specialize in handling IRS issues. I pretty much reject almost every other type of case, refer it out to other lawyers, because I want to handle IRS cases, and that's what I'm best at and what I focus on. The other thing, we're also checking their website, but you also want to check Google. So I just Googled Boss Tax Law, but what's important is checking reviews. So here currently have, at the time this video is filmed, 43 Google reviews, and just look through and see what it says, because that is just evidence that they've been able to get good results for clients and that clients have liked working with the attorney. So I would the attorney you hire doesn't have to have hundreds and hundreds of reviews, but you want to see some good reviews, some good case results, and too many negative reviews or not too much of an online presence, I might be a little concerned and ask some more questions. Let's talk about a few warning signs when you're hiring a tax attorney. First, if they won't give you your bar license number and make it hard to find their credentials, that's a red flag. If you're talking to an attorney who's not actually going to work on your case, that's a potential red flag, because they could be handing it off to a less experienced or less knowledgeable junior attorney. If someone guarantees results, we'll get you pennies on the dollar, we'll sell your case for zero. I can't make guarantees. No legitimate attorney can make guarantees. But what I can do, and what I often do with tax court cases, is have part of my fee contingent upon results. So if I'm successful, maybe I get 10 or 15% of the tax savings. We can do that, and then our interests are aligned. But I'll never guarantee results because when dealing with the IRS and the government, there are no guarantees. There are likely outcomes, guaranteed settlements. That's not a thing, and that's definitely a red flag. Also, any sort of high pressure sales tactics. Sign up today to get a discounted rate. If you don't act now, the IRS will seize your assets tomorrow. Those are high pressure sales tactics. Those, if you hear that, I'm not going to scare you unnecessarily, but I'm also not going to sugarcoat everything. Dealing with the IRS, they do have power, but you have power too and can push back. And I'm not going to scare you into signing with me today or something bad will happen. And no legitimate attorney should do that as well. And also payment options have requiring you to pay a bunch of money up front after barely talking to you. Usually that could potentially be a red flag. A retainer or a small upfront payment for the investigation phase or after they've reviewed some documents, that is more reasonable, especially if you're paying a lot of money to an attorney to represent you in tax court. You don't want to pay them thousands of dollars before even taking a look at a single document in your case. So I know this seems like a lot of additional work. You're always stressed about your IRS problem, and now you have to play Magnum PI by investigating your tax attorney, but it's definitely worth it. Hiring the wrong tax attorney doesn't just waste money, it can make your IRS problem worse. Deadlines can be missed, they can create additional issues. A few minutes of verification on the front end can save you lots of headache on the back end. So before you hire anyone, verify their bar license, check their admittance before tax court, and confirm that they actually have substantial tax controversy experience. So if they're legitimate, they'll have no problem helping you do this and giving you all the necessary information. But if they get defensive or evasive, that pretty much tells you everything you need to know, and that you should start looking for a different option. So if you're dealing with an IRS issue and want to work with someone who actually has the credentials and experience, I'm admitted before all three federal courts, including tax court. I'm a CPA. I'm also a former IRS agent, and I now represent taxpayers exclusively. Feel free to reach out to me at bosstaxlaw.com to schedule an initial consultation where we can go over your situation and how I might be able to help you take on the IRS. No gimmicks or guarantees, just straight talk about how I'd handle your case and your likelihood of success. So thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.